So, quick intro to our viewers. We're starting a new type of podcast today, which is going to be more of a conversational, applicable podcast for you guys. So, we've brought on a anonymous live audience member, Joe, who is going to be telling us about his life and his stories and sharing with us some problems so that we can discuss and apply this knowledge from all religions and science to life. And yeah, let's get started. Joe, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yes. First, thank you for having me. I think it's a blessing to be here. Just get out like all the different ideas I have on life. I watch your episodes and I was really inspired. I am 30 years old. I am my culture is Haitian. I'm born and raised here. And I grew up Catholic, went to private school my whole life, so know the Bible. That's where my base for philosophy and religion comes from. I also have the Haitian culture, which some may say it's like a lot of spirituality in that as well too. I tie that all together to make sense of my world. I am a younger brother. I don't know. It's really hard to describe myself. I would consider myself a normal man, trying to figure out his way through this world. Yes.
Beautifully said.
Very well said, Joe. One question, right? Like, what drove you towards this inward thinking, towards the spiritual aspects of life?
Yeah. So after watching a couple of your episodes and watching you guys explain how things aren't as simple as we see it, especially when we take the time to escape and detach from everything that's being spoon-fed to us through our eyes, that made me look inward, and I started to have more questions, and that what brought me to the whole spirituality. I think in understanding brings peace. So I'm here to gain understanding, thus gain peace, doing the work to gain peace.
Speaking of that, is there something specific that you feel like you want to gain understanding on?
Yeah. Well, first, I would love to know everything. But I understand it isn't that simple at this very moment. But for right now, I feel like my career, like it's stagnant. I feel like the world wants to teach me things before I can get to that level. It's hard. It's really hard because the things that made me strong last season of my life, when I say season, I mean like a period, right? So last season, the thing that made me strong, I feel like the universe wants to remove that for this season. It's tough. That's one aspect. Another thing is family, what that means for my growth. Also relationships, not only romantically, just like friendship wise. Yeah, I think that's the main thing, like career, family, and relationships. Those are the main thing that's shaking me up at this season of my life.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
And I really, really appreciate how comfortable you are with sharing your story and everything that's going on inside. One of the things that you mentioned is that you feel like your career is stagnant. We can start with career because that's what you mentioned first.
Yeah.
Why do you feel like your career is stagnant right now?
So, just to give a little background, I want to get into the healthcare kind of path. And when I started my college kind of journey, I struggled a little bit, not because I'm not capable of learning whatever I need to learn. It was just, there was a lot of distractions in my life at the time, family stuff. But, eventually I got on the ball. And as I progressed, as I started to know what I wanted, I started to get more eager. I started to get more impatient. I spent like a lot of my life just going with the flow. And once I realized, okay, this is what I want, I was chasing it nonstop every day. And once I got to a point, I felt like all of my past decisions were slowing me down. And that's where I'm at now. I kind of feel like I'm stagnant because the more I want to push, I feel like the world is telling me, no, not yet. Pay attention to this. But then I'm like, I need to do this. And I find myself arguing with like my spiritual self, the world, like, why do I need to learn this? And it brings shame onto me because society judges you in a way of what do you have now? Yeah, I'm also a very prideful person, and it diminishes my pride as well. So all those different things kind of, I know I was a little long-winded, but that's kind of like how the career kind of thing, this feels stagnant.
So it seems like there's a lot of things that are changing because you also mentioned that there's change in family, change in relationships, right? So it's not that life feels stagnant because things are not changing, but maybe what it seems like you're saying is that it's stagnant. It feels stagnant because it's not changing the way you want it to change.
Yeah, I would agree that it isn't changing the way I want it to change. But just to get your perspective on this, if I was walking down a path, right, and a hurricane happens, or there's traffic, or horses come by, and it stops me from my path walking forward. Yes, I understand it's a change, but why must I look at these horses, or why must I sit through the hurricane? You understand?
Yeah.
And that is the strange thing is like, why would God or the universe put these horses in my path to stop me from walking forward? Why must I sit and watch these horses? What is your perspective on that?
From my point of view is when you consider yourself as this body, this person, and everything else is different from you, it feels a little bit like everything is coming in your way. But once you start understanding the fact like we are the bigger self itself, the one self, from that point of view, if we can look at everything, it feels like everything is flowing along with you. And that perspective will give you inner bliss, happiness, and the way you approach things is going to be a little bit different from the way you see things today. You understand, right? Like when one is not stressed out, the way they get things done is going to be in the most loving, compassionate, and very efficient way. Yeah. And things feel like they're falling in place too. So that is one big change I have experienced myself going through my journey. Yeah. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I 100% feel the same way in terms of what I've experienced as well. Once you detach from that end goal that you want, rather than the journey feeling stagnant and the things coming along the way, rather than feeling like blockages, it'll feel like things that are just happening. Like imagine you're on a train and you're sitting in the train. You're not thinking about where the train is going. You're looking out the window and you see these horses passing along. You see a farm, you see cars. It's not like the train is stopping and the horses are crossing. It's like the horses are there. You're admiring the horses' beauty. Maybe you're thinking about how strong the horses are, where the horses are going. It's more about the journey rather than the end goal because we have no idea what the end goal is, right? Like you were talking about different seasons in your life, right? Think back 1 season ago, 2 seasons ago, would you have been able to predict exactly everything that's going on right now in your life?
No,
Probably
not at
not,
all.
right?
Yeah.
And there's so many things in this current season that you're so grateful for that you have that 2 seasons ago, if you had held on to the idea that whatever you wanted 2 seasons ago, you wouldn't have gotten everything that you're grateful for now. So I think the biggest thing is like trusting that the universe has so many amazing things for you in the coming seasons that you can just sit back on that train and look around.
Yeah, I love that analogy. That is a very beautiful way to see it. Um, I'm going to just add this. I do understand, what you're saying. I'm just gonna just add something.
Yeah.
So that idea of everything is you, right? Like everything is gaining perspective of where you need to go, right? What happens when family gets in the way? Something that's really close to your heart. Maybe it's the reason why you wanted to walk the journey, but the universe wants to take it away from you. So now that train ride, those beautiful things, as I'm watching these horses, I have pain. There's pain in it, right? It's pain in watching. It's pain in seeing. And it makes you scared to move forward because it's all just one big journey, and don't be hung up on one emotion. I understand that. But the fear of losing, the fear of not even being sure, how does one heal himself from that unknown?
So I will first explain the concept of like feeling the one big self, right? Um, that is not easy for everyone to do because we were never taught from our childhood to feel that way. So it's not natural. Uh, if you start a thought process in terms of understanding the world in a different way, then it will become more natural. And I want to quickly go over the thought process on how it looks like. So you remember when we started this podcast, we explained about a tree and its growth and the way it grows and the things that it teaches us, right? Everything we can see from our food chain has evolved from something smaller, something smaller, something smaller. That means everything came from the same thing. Even we and trees, we are genetically diversified way back. So in a sense, if we have the deepest feeling that we are one big self and everything is evolving along with us, and understand the beauty in everything from that perspective, with that blissful intent, when we look at the world and when we look at the problems, it's easy to understand the root cause of those problems too. Because often when we are stressed out and have insecurities, we cannot see beyond those insecurities either, right? I will give you one example. A tree has to muster its willpower to survive all types of weather to become what it is. And over generations, a tree can be completely different tree too, right? Based on the conditions it goes through. It never gave up, just adapted to those conditions and became a better version of itself to suit the day and time. Same way when you are watching a horse didn't start as a horse. It was some other mammal which evolved as a horse, which developed that agility, that muscle, that beauty. If you look at it, then the beauty starts appealing to you. Now, when it comes to the feelings, to your second point, where you express the feelings of family restricting you in a way, or anything restricting you, your close friend for that matter, you have to understand like there have been some lost feelings throughout the process, as in like the bad decisions that we have taken in our past were resulting in some of the stress that we are facing today. It might not be directly related to you. It could be something your parents have done, your friends have done, or your friends' parents have done. But why should I pay the price is a question for most people. If you understand, like, you are this whole universe itself and you have a responsibility to fix it as well, then you will come back to your blissful state and understand, like, okay, maybe I need to take a different perspective about this. I know I am in a bad situation. I have to work and show my willpower to adapt to these situations, fix whatever it is around me and myself too. That type of positive attitude will drive one towards the success and towards the path he's looking for. I know it could be a long journey for most of the people compared to some, but that's the harsh truth that we have to get through. Yeah. It's like, and enjoy the journey more than like thinking about where or when I will get there, right? Like it will only add more to the stress.
I want to add a little bit more on how to actually do that. Like when you're in this state of feeling loss and feeling pain, that can feel really bad. And to get from there to appreciating the journey is a big step. And to break that step down, I think one thing that is being said with this perspective of oneness, what you're really doing with that perspective of oneness is you're zooming out and you're understanding that everything has a purpose. So this painful situation, whatever the situation is, that painful situation at some point in time will have a purpose and a conclusion. And the conclusion will change over time as you realize and think and situations change, that conclusion will change. But to trust and know that at some point in the future, there will be a reason, there will be a why, everything will have its beautiful reason, is also trusting yourself that you will be able to get to that place in the future. That next season, you will have peace. Next season, I will have things figured out. Next season, I will have worked towards with love and compassion with my family in order to resolve this. If you really believe that from your heart, then your actions and your words and your thoughts, all of those things will align to actually make peace with your family. So I think it all, again, starts with trust. So trust yourself that you will be able to resolve this. And nothing happens instantly like that. Just feel deeply, and then over time, that will turn out to be the case externally. It's very beautiful that you're sitting here and even thinking about that in the first place, right? Like that's an indicator that you trust yourself and that you're on the right path, because you're thinking about what is painful, right? Which means that you want to change that pain. You want other people in your life to not experience that pain. You're thinking about the loss in your family. You don't want them to feel that, right? So all of these thoughts and emotions, they are a good indicator that you want to see that change in the first place, right? So I would say appreciate that experience of pain, because that experience of pain is a message. Everything is a message, right? So what is the message there
Okay.
in the pain? What is the pain trying to tell you?
Yeah. Okay.
One thing I want to add to what Dara has mentioned, right? Like, if you have seen our podcast, of course you have. One of the main thing that we advocate is for the third person perspective, right? Like having that third person perspective and observing things as one, and understanding the truth that everyone has to come through suffering to the light. This is Buddha's first noble truth as well. Being in peace with that and being able to approach life in that fashion will definitely help. And it takes a lot of faith to do that too. It's not easy. It's not easy for everyone. And it's a blind leap of faith. But trust me, when you take that leap of faith, it will give you the peace you need to be able to excel in life and get through these problems.
Yeah, I think what you guys are saying is very, very beautiful. And just to make sure I'm comprehending everything, I'm going to try to regurgitate. And if I missed anything, please let me know. So where my understanding is now is, again, zoom out, right? Don't be so key on the thing, on the problem, or even the solution or the goal. Just watch everything. The next thing that I received is even if you're having issues with, let's just say, your brother, your mother, your father, if I zoom out and don't see them as your brother or your father, see them as like that feeling that you feel. Maybe it's disappointment, maybe it's hurt, maybe it's betrayal. Why do you feel betrayed, right? And then when you keep asking why, just like you said earlier, you start to understand their pain is a result of a decision someone else made. And what are you going to do now to make sure that pain doesn't continue?
Yep.
Next thing I absorbed was also to not have to worry about the goal, and to understand that if I'm climbing this mountain, for me to appreciate the top of that mountain, I need to appreciate the bottom. And that's the part of the goal. And to relate to the Buddha is, it's a privilege because it's yours. That pain is yours. as much as I can tell you guys everything I've been through, you guys will never truly understand, because that pain was a gift, and overcoming the pain is that my gift as well. So that's what I received from what you guys said.
You said very beautifully. Thank you very much. Everything that we see around here, the more it exercises its willpower towards achieving something, it becomes that bigger. And why does God give you all the challenges? To make you big, to make you become your true self, to make you realize that you are the bigger self as well.
That's very beautiful. That's very beautiful.
Yeah.
That warms my heart to hear.
There's this verse in the Gita that says, God does bad things to good people to make them better. And when I heard that, it gave me so much peace. Because I feel like that has been a question that people ask for so long. Like, I'm a good person.
Yeah.
Why are these bad things happening to me?
Mm-hmm.
It's to get better.
To get better, yes. Yeah, no. And it's a very heartwarming thing to hear for sure. What you guys gave me, it feels like it's a solution to everything.
So, of course, it is a solution to everything when we focus inwards. Now, let's get to how you're going to get there. Of course, we know what needs to be done. And let's discuss in terms of like how the learnings from the podcast or whatever we are telling so far will help you in this journey. So, we discussed about using the third person perspective,
Mm-hmm.
focusing inwards and observing everything from a bigger perspective, and understanding that everything has a cause and effect, that the way you train your willpower also has cause and effect. If you learn everything by yourself, you will know how to analyze that and apply that in each and every aspect of your life.
Mm-hmm.
If you take some learnings from someone and apply that in that specific area, you might probably succeed in that area of life, but you will not be able to apply or grow in other areas of life. So, in essence, what I'm trying to say here is like getting to the path of self-realization has to be the goal, the first goal, and then applying that in day-to-day life.
Yeah. Yeah, I see myself now when I feel anxious, when I feel anxiety over growth, I know it's the world telling me to be patient. If I feel hurt by someone else, I know it's to then stop and then to understand one's perspective. I think that's how I will do the day to day. I think also being disciplined, like you said, with willpower, lining up like what this detached version of myself needs to detach from. Something that scares me. As I say, I'm scared. I kind of think back to what we said earlier, but I know this is happening right now. I understand what got me here, and it's tough to let it go. I'm okay with letting it go. I understand branches must fall, things must go, leaves must fall. I understand that. Sometimes I want it to just happen already because I feel like the emotion is lingering.
Yeah.
And it's hard to come to peace with my state in the moment, because let's just say someone gave me a car to come here, right? When I think about everything I'm gaining today, I think about the person who gave me the car, right? And if that person isn't there, right, I wouldn't be here. And when the world is telling me, not necessarily I don't need that person anymore, but that person isn't isn't going to be in your future, it makes me sad, because wherever I go from now on, I feel like it's because of that person. And though it could just be appreciation, I could leave it at that. But it's hard for me to appreciate all the gifts ahead because I can't thank the person who gave me the car that got me to all these other places. You understand?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. Just an example. You want to be successful for your parents, and you get so far, and then right when you get there, your parents are not there anymore. Everything that you were there for, you want to share with them, and it's not there anymore. So as much as I want to be happy to be at the top of the mountain, they're not there. So
So one thing I will tell you again, I will refer to Gita in terms of journey point of view, right? So I definitely understand the feeling like you want to express gratitude
mhm.
towards all the good things that got you where you are today. And your gratitude is always received by the people who are not even today here, right? Like as per Gita, our soul moves from body to body, just like we wear a shirt, we change a shirt, right? So the people uh, that have helped you in the past will definitely receive their good karmic effects in next life, and the way you upheld their spirit, they are creating inspiration in you towards you serving others too. So they want to see you do the same thing that they have done to you, which is guide more people towards that positive spirit and spread that positive spirit that they gave you. That's the biggest or the best way you can express your gratitude to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's so beautiful, and I understand that that's where I need to get. That's where I need to get to.
But can we learn something new unless we unlearn something that we have already learned, right?
I am in need of enlightenment. I may come to you, and it's all about, like you said, keeping your perspective open, and hopefully, this cycle continues. Someone else can hear your words, hear my words, hear Dara's words, and someone else can be here and gain another perspective.
So if anyone else is interested in having a podcast session with us, be it in privacy or be it in public appearance, feel free to reach out to us. We are always responding back to our emails and comments. We're looking forward to hearing more from everyone. Thank you.